I'm Emma Kaye from Bozza Media, and we're based out of South Africa.
Emma, you've made big changes in Bozza. What is Bozza now?
It's a good question. Since we last spoke, Bozza has moved from being an app-centric company. So when we first started, we were very focused on developing apps. We pivoted out of an app environment, and we now basically are an online digital marketplace for African media and entertainment, which simply means that any artist anywhere in Africa can upload their content, have a single home, single destination, and access their market directly with no middle individuals at all.
And how many artists and how many users have you got?
So at the moment we've got over 7,000 artists from all over Africa, and that includes filmmakers as well as musicians and poets. So we're not just focused on a particular format, in other words, music or video. So we appeal to all artists, and we've got roughly about 60,000 users a month and growing steadily around 20% month on month. And we've spent roughly about £5,000 only in the last year on marketing.
So how do people pay for this content?
So at the moment we've been doing tests. So we have what we call our SMS storefront, which is just in South Africa at the moment. So it means that an artist can start selling directly to their customers through SMS short codes, which, as you all know, are terrible margins because we still have the operator to deal with. But despite that, we have over 15,000 transactions in the space of 4 months, which is extraordinary for SA content only. Going forward, we'll be integrating into a payment mechanism which is basically ubiquitous across the African continent, tapping into MTN Money, Airtel Money, M-Pesa, etc.
I'm working with a company called Skrill.
That's right, yeah. So Skrill will be our back-end integrator for our wallet.
And through that you get what percentage of the revenue, just so people can understand?
So our revenue will shift from the lower end of the spectrum, under 10%, between 10 and 12%, to over 70%, just to give you an indicator of how significant the shift will be. Which then is, the important part of that is that then trickles down to the artist.
Tell me about the kinds of artists that you've got on the platform at the moment.
That's a very good point, because we do not work in the same market as many of the other players in the market. In other words, we don't work with celebrities. We don't work with the existing big names such as the DJ Jazzies, etc. We don't work with the existing studios of licensing their content to bring onto our platform. We are all about giving access to the artist who previously hasn't been able to get to a radio station or a broadcaster, etc. So that really taps into a very creative currency, a creative economy. So what that means is that we have people developing drama series, comedy, a whole cross-section of music, whether it be jazz, whether it be hip-hop, whether it be house. So it really does have a big spectrum in terms of who we're targeting.
So you've got a petrol attendant in South Africa who's actually making a drama series. Yeah,
it's amazing. Yep, that's the story. Sam is a petrol attendant, and he makes the most extraordinary drama in his spare time. So we're now kind of really encouraging him to stop being a petrol attendant and to start making more and more content for Bozza, and he will start to make money from that, which is great. So it'll be video on demand for his kind of shows.
And you've got an upsurge of kind of music bands in Zambia at the moment, which seems to be kind of very fertile for you.
Yeah, it's really, I think one of the joys that I have of working at Bozza is that we get to see such a cross-section of extraordinary art that's coming from the continent. Zambia is producing wonderful stuff, Angola, amazing house music, Zimbabwe, just quality, great material, Malawi, some lovely stuff from Malawi. So it's just really lovely getting kind of engaged in the content, whether it be film or music and poetry. Poetry is just profound. The spoken word that's coming out, and the following for spoken word is staggering. We're always amazed at how many people want to engage in that.
And you're here in London today for the launch tomorrow of the equity fundraising for the company. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I feel very blessed in terms of where we are as a company, is that we're very, very privileged to be able to be in London to basically launch our crowdfund. But it's a very unique crowdfund in that it's for equity. So anyone who participates in the crowdfund gets equity and can be part of our journey and the growing media and entertainment sector in Africa. And secondly is that it, for the first time, allows companies in the so-called emerging frontier markets like us to use platforms, crowdfunding platforms, to raise funding. So it's the first time that FICA regulations and compliance have been overcome through the company that we're working with, which is called Emerging Crowd. And we'll be launching on Emerging Crowd tomorrow to raise £500,000. And the beautiful thing is it's a minimum ticket size of £500 to participate. So it really does target a big cross-section of people who would like to invest.
What kinds of investors are you targeting then out here?
Good question. So there are 3 tiers of investors. You've got the top end, the kind of classic high net worth individuals, funds who are well-seasoned investors who are interested in emerging frontier markets such as Africa. So those people are coming on board and interested in looking at the deal flow that this platform has. Secondly, you've got the kind of the new investor, the person who's coming into money, whether it be kind of the young professional who is starting to see a bigger salary, wanting to participate and give back.
And just likes the sound of...
Absolutely. Who like to have a sense that they've invested in something. And then you've got the third tier, which is someone more like me, which is, that sounds like a great idea. I want to support you because you're my friend. And
more like the crowdfunding.
Absolutely. It's more of the crowd. So those are 3 very basic tiers, crudely put, but those are the tiers that we'll be targeting.
And when you've raised the money, what will you be doing with it, and what will Bozza look like in, 2-3 years' time maybe?
Yeah, so Bozza, the funds will go to a fundamental part, which is the integration into the payment gateway. Launching our advertising, because those are the 2 main revenue sources. And thirdly, very exciting for us, is the video on demand channels. So really it will be kind of focusing on delivering video, whether it's subscription services of channels, or basically specific programs like, for example, Sam's short films, The Petrol Attendant, where it's basically a single rental or download for that film. So we'll be focusing, it'll be payment, advertising, launching our video channels. So in 2 to 3 years, we will absolutely be a marketplace for all kinds of content for Africa.
And you've got your own media, haven't you? Because you've launched a radio station. Tell us about that lastly. Yeah,
that's a recent addition, and the radio station is, I'm particularly excited and I love it because it's a beautiful way of discovering new content. So, if we just look at within coming here to England, is that you plug into a service, let's say it's YouTube, I want to search for an artist. I generally know what artist I'm looking for. Whereas if I'm discovering and wanting to discover new music, I'm going to put my headset on and I want to discover through casual listening. So our radio station is really targeting casual listeners. So you can listen to the radio station, gosh, that sounds like a lovely track, and part of the fund process will go into the integration of the funding of the payment, which I explained. So for example, on the radio station, that sounds like a lovely track, you want to buy it, you'll be able to buy it immediately. So the radio station is a great way of discovering content.